The M2 MacBook Air, Apple's latest, greatest, and thinnest MacBook ever to be made. And recently, the M2 MacBook Air was released in the WWDC 2022 hosted by Apple on June 6. Well, the question arises, is it worth the hype and the money? Well, this is Ashmet, and without any further ado, let's get right into it. The M2 MacBook Air has a GPU that is 35% faster than the M1 variant and has a CPU that is 18% faster than the previous generation. Now, it costs around $1,200, which when converted to the Indian rupee is equal to 1,20,000 rupees. And you know, it's Apple. Isn't even the 512 gigabyte version, so you would have to pay extra to get the maxed out 512 gigabyte 24 gigabyte unified memory version in order to not run out of storage. The maxed out version which I'm talking about, which has 512 gigabytes of memory, 24 gigabytes of RAM, and also the M2 chip, it costs 1,50,000 rupees. Now that is a lot of money. Now, if you want to buy the M2 MacBook Air, then don't just buy it because you want to. I hope you have certain needs which you want to fulfill with this MacBook, because it has the new media encoder and decoder chip which was shown by Apple in the Apple event. So that would speed up the work while editing or photo editing in apps like Affinity Photo. So yeah, that is pretty much it, and I don't think that you should buy it if you don't have the budget, then don't really buy it, because the M1 MacBook Air is still a pretty good choice. And from my personal opinion, if you really want to buy the M1 MacBook Air, then don't go with the 8GB version, as I have the 8GB version, and you know, your memory will get used up. If you want to do some high level editing stuff, you need to go ahead and buy the 16GB version, which costs an extra $200, means an extra 14,000 rupees. The M1 MacBook Air costs 92,000 rupees right now, so adding 14,000 rupees to it will cost around, I don't know. Here is the result, and it will cost this much, because I'm not really a maths pro as the editor, which is me, I'm the editor actually. So yeah, that is what I'm talking about. And when we are talking about the differences, then there are some serious differences, like the new MagSafe, the 67 watt charging, the new 1080p webcam, and also the new boxy design. The MacBook series is no longer the wedge-shaped one; it has become a boxy design. So yeah, but still, it is the thinnest, greatest, and world's best-selling laptop according to this guy. So yeah, that's what I want to say. And yeah, and now I'm going to tell you why it is not worth it to buy this machine. As you know, if you are just a regular user who just wants to do some normal work like school related stuff or other things, then you don't really need that much power and don't need to spend that much money. And I know we all need the bells and the whistles, like this 720p webcam. I honestly hate this webcam, but still I'm making videos with it, because when I bought this MacBook exactly 4 months ago, the M2 MacBook was not released back then. And that is why I'm saying this. If you really want the 1080p webcam, if you really want the M2 chip, if you actually want and require all these things, then you should spend the money. And to spend the money, first you have to have it. If you don't have it, then you are just begging to somebody for getting you that MacBook. Now that's not true in my case, as I got this as a gift. So yeah, and I did not know myself that my 10-year-old laptop would expire in a few months. And you should totally comment in the comment section below, down below, that Toshiba Portage R830 RIP. Putting aside the satisfying sound that comes with the MagSafe when the MagSafe is connected to the MacBook, do you really need the MagSafe, as it's just a magnetic charger? And still, in the M1 MacBook, you can still charge the M1 MacBook using a normal plug-in charger, Type C connectivity, lightning cable. So yeah, that is what I am saying. And they say, Apple says that it's faster in terms of GPU and CPU. Well, if it's really that fast, then 18% faster CPU is equal to, if you're working on a project that is like 10 or like 1 minute long, then it will take 25 seconds less than the M1 variant. And if you are working on a project that is 1 hour long, then it will take 10 minutes less in terms of rendering, and the M1 variant will take 10 minutes more. Now, do we need to spend this extra money just for like 30,000 rupees extra just to get the base M2 MacBook Air? I think not. And now, I don't think it's a really good option if you just want to buy the base variant. But if you want to buy the gold, the maxed out version, then you need to spend at least 1.5 lakhs. And this M2 chip is not like greater in terms of anything than the M1 Pro and the M1 Max chips. So yeah, if you can save the money and if you can save it more, then you should invest in something like the MacBook Pro that has the M1 Pro chip or the M1 Max chip. That is it from my side, and that is why I don't think that the M2 MacBook Air is worth it. And yeah, when the M2 Max and M2 Pro chips will be there, it will be on a whole other level. So be sure to follow me for all this, as when they will be introduced, then also I will be making a video about it. This is Ashmit, and we'll catch you in the next one.